let's focus on defining an investment that focuses on the third-party API security program against malware. So this could, in this case, could potentially belong to the CISO, even though it could be considered as a third-party risk. So when an investment is defined or planned, you can see that it's very important to really describe what needs to be done, who the owner is, whether it's mandatory or not, whether there are predecessors or there are connections or dependencies between investments. This type of detail is for another video focusing on portfolio prioritization when you have to deal with risk mitigation investments. And obviously the most important is to understand what the resource requirements are. In this case, cost to execute or to implement, and then the cost to operate across the useful life of the investment itself. And then from technical hours perspective, how many hours are required to execute and maintain. Then another important factor is, as I described earlier, the goal of any investment is to increase the strengths of capabilities, protective capabilities for the organization unit, which relatively simplifies the tasks and the objective of how we define an investment. But at the same time, for a larger organization with a significant risk profile or risk landscape or risk web, how we call it, you can see that there can be significant number of proactive capability attack surface combinations. In this case, there are 2,205 of those already that could be improved to some extent. But we already defined that from a threat perspective, we will focus on malware. So now we just filter down to those attack surfaces and capabilities that can be targeted by or that can be relevant against malware. And we also defined already in the previous analysis that we will focus on service provider APIs. What you see here really is that the assumption for this investment is that whenever there are lower level of capabilities or strengths for the capabilities, we will improve those to a higher level. For simplicity perspective or purposes, let's just focus on what has been changed. So right now there are 19 capabilities on this specific attack surface that are improved. So when we make an assumption around the benefits of the investments if executed properly or as planned, what you see here is really an understanding that the current strengths of the capability on this attack surface is illustrated with the blue line or curve, while the new strengths is illustrated with this orange curve. In terms of assumptions for how valuable the investment or impactful the investment is, uncertainty is also relevant in this case because we don't know the future. But you can define to what extent you think the investment would improve the capability and how certain we are in this improvement. So once that's done for each and every one of the capabilities that the investment would specifically target, all these assumptions can be done. Now, in a real example, you would definitely want to describe specifically what activities would be done by the investment to achieve this type of improvement. So in the investment actions, you describe that. Those type of activities should also drive the resource constraints requirements or the resource requirements of the investment itself. So those are related. So this is definitely a proactive investment in nature. From a reactive perspective, we can check that there are no reactive capability improvements planned here.